good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. I want to welcome you here this afternoon as we get ready, and we're going to talk about the 5 top things that you must be researching when you begin researching any business. However, the business that we're going to be talking about today is American Business Systems. So again, thank you for joining us. And today, who's going to be joining me on the webinar is our founder and CEO of American Business Systems. We're always grateful to have Patrick on here. It's always good to hear from the man that is a part of this business. He is a published author. Got a couple of books there that he's authored, working on another one. He's also published many articles in the BC magazine, which is a building coding magazine. And Patrick, let's get you on the video camera if you're there, and let's get this thing kicked off here today.
Eric, this is research before people start a business is very important, and some people don't know how to do that. So I thought, hey, why don't we cover some of the stuff that we've covered on previous webinars that are things that they need to research, not just about American Business Systems, but any business that they're looking, any franchise or business opportunity. Man, you got to do your due diligence, or you can sink a lot of money into something that's not really suited for you.
You know, at the end of last year, you and I had that bright idea. Let's kind of look over the last year of what we've accomplished in just our webinars. But before we got too further much into this year, I think there were, as we see here today, there are 5 top topics of webinars that we've kind of pulled together, and that's what we're going to be sharing today. So, I love what you say. We can never give enough information to folks that are looking to get into this business.
Yeah, we try not to hold back, folks. When you come to these webinars, and we do these every week at 3 o'clock Central Time on Wednesdays, we do this to educate you so that you have some good information to be able to make a wise decision for you and your family. If this is the business for you, you'll know that as you see more and more information given to you. So we're trying to give you as much as we can. So Eric, let's jump and show them where they can find these, first of all, out there on the web if they want to actually watch some of the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just go to our website. It's at absystems.com. And you'll see across the title bar right up at the top there, you'll see that one that has news, and you'll see where it says blog. Now, I think a lot of times we think of blog as something we're blogging along there, but right in that blog area is where we have actually all of our webinars listed. And you'll see right here that you've arrived at the blog home page. And when you get to this spot, not only are you going to see actually recorded webinars that we've done every week, but Patrick, I think there's articles that Adam posts here. So there's a lot of information here besides just the webinars.
Yeah, and then if you drop down to the bottom of this home page, you'll see that there's a search button down at the bottom, a little box there, where you can actually search for some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to give you the actual search words. So you might want to get a little pen and paper ready to write down the exact words that you would search here on our blog to be able to find the exact recorded webinars that we'll be talking about.
Got a great question that just came in, and Brian's asking the question, how do I know this is live? Well, Brian, we just answered your question, so hopefully you know that This is a live webinar.
Brian L. Hey, let's do this, Eric. We haven't done this before, but I just want to see where people are from. So, folks, to prove that it's live, if you'll just type in the question box now, not the chat, but the question box, just type in the city and state that you're from. We'll read some of those out here, and you'll see that it is live. Brian put a smiley face up there. Okay, so Brian, you're convinced that it's live now. And there's Fort Myers, Florida.
That's from Isaac. Good to have you, Isaac. Melanie, Hempstead, North Carolina. Eric is from Tallahassee, Florida. Tina's from Baltimore, Maryland. Wow.
See?
Waco, Texas. Dan, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Al. Mission Viejo, California. There's another Al there. Good to have. Boy, so thank you for throwing all that. We got people from Oklahoma, North Carolina, New York. So, yeah. So.
And then there's somebody put their name in there instead of M and their last name. Okay. Well, anyway, the point is, guys, that these are live webinars. So that means as we get into this thing, if you've got questions about anything that we're talking about here at any time, you can type them right in the question box. And then towards the end, we always set aside some time for that as well. So, Eric, this is also at the bottom of every one of the blog pages. And usually there's what, Eric, maybe 10 or 12 entries
Right.
And when you get down to the very bottom of each one of those pages, notice there's a little bitty tiny link, you might miss it there, called older articles. That takes you to a previous page. And then when you get to the bottom of that page and you click that again, you'll see the previous page. It goes backwards in time, in other words. And Eric,
Yeah.
I think this goes back to like, huh?
Yeah, I was going to say back to all the way to 2010 is what we've got webinars up till.
We've been doing this a long time. Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of information out there, guys, but we're going to make this simple for you. We're going to talk about the top 5 that we think you should go and watch or have your spouse or partner watch. And the first one here is this one. We get this a lot from people, don't we, Eric?
Yeah, and this is, I think, as people will see today, and again, feel free to give us any feedback here, but these are kind of like the top 5 questions we get, so that's why we're kind of looking at the top 5 webinars, because we get so many people say, Patrick, I've researched my this field. I see that medical billing is actually a good business to be in. But boy, how am I going to get clients? Because I'm just not a salesperson. So we actually covered that.
Yeah, and folks, that's why, again, this is important for you, whether you get in our business or any other business. This should be at the top of your mind, right? I want to start my own business, but I'm not a salesperson. Well, guess what? This may be a shock to some of you, but no matter what business you start, you're going to have to sell something. Now, the nice thing is that we have figured that out way, many years ago when my wife started doing medical billing back in 1987, and I started doing some marketing for her. I realized right up front that yes, you have to figure out how to present your product, and you might call it marketing instead of selling. But the bottom line, we sell in life as a husband, we're selling our wives on how good a husband we are. We're selling our kids on why we're good parents, and they're selling us, right?
Exactly. So if you'll go back I'll kind of go back one screen here. The title of this one is I want to start my own business, but I'm not a salesperson. So in that search area of what we showed you right here, when you go to our blog site, you can go down here. So when you see these key terms of search, these are the key terms we want you to be able to input there. So when we get over here to, I want to learn more about that particular webinar, Patrick, we spent an entire hour of talking about starting your business without having to sell. And I think to most folks, you've talked about marketing, you've talked about selling. What does it really mean about starting this business without having to sell this particular business model?
Well, as I said, in any business, of course, you've got to somehow market your product or service. But folks, if you do what typically is thought of as selling in this business, it won't work. In fact, in the training, you'll hear me say something to this effect. How many of you here are, from a sales background or, had your own business? Well, if you are, you have to forget about 99% of everything that you know about selling, because if you try it in this one, it just doesn't work. Because doctors can't be sold anything. Now, they can be educated, and that's why we have tools like we're about to show you here that you can use to educate the doctors.
Exactly. This one of them that you're going to be able to have as part of your suite of marketing tools and everything else is a book called Cash Crunch to Cash Flow. Now, Brian, great, thanks. I appreciate you voicing your concern here. He's saying, Patrick, this whole area about selling is his biggest concern, and I think, Brian, you're certainly not alone. So we've got a book that's going to help you with that. And Patrick, it's been a while since we've offered this, but we actually have a PDF copy of this. So folks, if you'd like to get a copy of this book, kind of start reading through it so you understand it, talk with your ES rep, and I'm sure we can get you a copy of that. That might be a great help to you.
Yeah,
you okay with that?
Yeah, whoever sent you the email about this webinar, just reply to that email and get back with them and say, I'd like an e-copy, an e-book of the Cash Crunch book, and they'll know what you're talking about. But guys, This is an actual book. I probably have one here on my shelf somewhere. Yeah, here it is right here. As you can see, those of you who are on the live video, you can see that it is a real paperback book, 174 pages or something like that. And we published this as a marketing tool. So, Brian, if you're scared of marketing, look, let me ask you this. Could you go to a doctor's office with this book and with your contact information, of course, on the inside cover here? We teach you how to do that. And could you hand that to the office manager and say, would you mind giving this to the doctor for me? That's all you have to do. There is no selling involved. This will do all the selling for you. And we'll even show you during our live training workshop how to mark this book. That is, highlight certain passages and put those little sticky flags along the edge here so that when you hand it to the doctor, they don't have to read the whole thing. They can just flip to some of those marked pages and go, wow. And this is what makes them want to get back a hold of you. So here's what I tell people. Look, would it be so hard to just put out a few of these and then sit at home and wait for the doctors to call you? That's better than going out and getting on the phone or, knocking doors. This is a giveaway. It adds value to the doctor. And boy, when you're giving things away, believe me, there's no selling involved in that at all. So that's one of the things we came. And then the other one that we just came out with.
Right. And this is actually with our partner, Dr. Vicki Rackner, who is currently marketing to doctors on some other issues, on financial issues. But we've actually partnered with her, and she's actually authored this particular book. And what's great about that, if you'll see down there where it says the forward, it says Sue Smith, Patrick, that could actually be their name.
Yeah, we actually create this ebook. On the cover, we put your name, and you'll notice there's some letters after that person's name there, CMRM. Just so you know, when you go through our training here in Dallas, we certify you as a medical revenue manager. That's what that is, certified medical revenue manager. So you'll not only have the prestige of being somebody who has been trained to manage the revenue for medical doctors, but you'll also be associated with a medical doctor who's written a book telling doctors how to get more patients. And believe me, they all want more patients. They cannot get too many patients. Patients die, not necessarily because the doctor caused that to happen, but they do pass away and they move, right? And so they're always needing new patients. Look, this book can even be printed out. Look, I had one printed here at Staples. Yeah, we'll give you the book, and you can go and, I don't know, about $4 or $5, you can actually have this book printed if you want to hand one to the doctor, again, with your name on the front, down at the bottom, and along with Dr. Rackner's, and you are the one who wrote the foreword to the book. So guys, it's a terrific marketing tool. Now, this is not the one that we give away. This is something that's just for our licensees. So, but believe me, your rep can tell you more about this. This is invaluable right here, guys. This is a tool that will do all the selling for you because, again, you're giving value, something free to the doctor that has your contact information. You're building your credibility. You are the expert in this field.
And, that's just part of it, Brian. I mean, again, we're just taking little snippets out of that particular webinar that we did. And one of the other areas that we talk about is you can actually hire a sales rep. And we've got folks that are coming to our class next week that actually has already hired some sales reps to go out there and market their business. So, it's what you want to do. So you may not be an expert in sales and marketing. However, we actually have that as a solution process for you in and through our training class.
Yeah, our instructor that's coming down next week, Cynthia Anderson. I thought that was a picture of her right there. That kind of looks like her, the blonde on the right there. But no, this is something that she's utilized. She'll teach you exactly how she's done this. We teach you how to find these sales reps, how to train them. We've got all kinds of materials that you can use to train them. How to pay them on a commission basis. It's a tremendous program. So look, Brian, if you or anybody else on here don't like to sell, don't want to sell, that's fine. There are people who love to sell. There are people who absolutely love it every day. They love the rejection they get. And they love the no's because they know the no's lead to yeses. And they love the money that's involved in it. Hey, guys, you can show these sales reps how to build their own business within your business.
Exactly.
Yeah, they can build a residual income of their own, bringing clients to you. Al says, do you help write the forward? He's talking about this book. Actually, we've already written it. We just put your name down at the bottom there. So it's all done for you.
It is. It is all done. So we try to think ahead for you. But Patrick, I think one of the biggest things that we've done in the last 2 to 3 years is what we're demonstrating right here on the screen, and that is how we actually partner with you as a licensee as being part of your solution to do what we call demonstration marketing. You want to explain that a little bit, Patrick?
Yeah, this is kind of hard for people to wrap their brains around, but guys, this is a demo of our cloud-based billing system. Now, we do these demos for you, for your doctors that are prospective clients of yours. You set this up, it's all online. You go in, you fill out a form, you tell us when the doctor wants to meet, and we set this up, and our people actually do the demo. Eric has done many of these for doctors. And
Yeah.
it's terrific because they're seeing live the very system that you're going to be using to solve their revenue problems. And they love it. Eric, do they not just absolutely love it?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's awesome just because uh, there is in the marketplace this type of setup that doctors have a billing system, which is with one company. They have an electronic medical record system which is with another company. They've got the middleman, which is called the clearinghouse. That's with a third party company. You got these three organizations that sometimes just don't work well together. And whenever we can demonstrate in our system how everything works together, because everything is integrated, it's not that we've got three separate companies and we've brought them together. We're talking about one company that has these three solutions built into it. When we show that to the doctor and we show that to the office manager and their administrators, literally, they are going, wow, when did this occur and why isn't this the way everybody works?
Yeah.
And so to help answer your questions, that why would a doctor use you? We help demonstrate that when we partner with you as part of what you do in the whole marketing scheme of everything.
Yeah, so we're literally doing this using GoToMeeting, which is similar to what we're using today, GoToWebinar, and we're getting online. On the left there, you see the computer with the actual system running. That's Eric or one of our technical people that are actually doing the demo. That's you, the couple up in the upper right-hand corner there, sitting and watching the demo, of course, and listening. And down at the bottom, the doctor is on their own computer, at their home, at their office, wherever they want to see this. They set aside the time, and we let them just connect, boom, just like you got on this webinar. And they're watching and listening and asking questions, and you get to hear it all.
Exactly.
And
folks, I was going to say this. If you want to see a demonstration of this before you become a licensee, we'll be happy to do that. Matter of fact, just ask a question and ask the question, can Sarah email you these 5 steps when this is over? Absolutely. We're recording this one, and this one will be available tomorrow. Absolutely, Sarah, shoot that out to you. No problem, Tommy.
Yeah. But I can emphasize how important that demo is. Folks, we are closing, Eric, about 50%.
Yeah, basically for every 2 demos that our team does, we are closing at least one of those. So really, we're really over 50% of closure rates whenever we get your doctor, you, and us on the call and getting this done. We're leading you up to that doctor signing your contract.
Yeah, now Ann is asking if this is something that they have to pay for. No, folks, look, everything we talk about, all of our tools, all of the new stuff that we're introducing this year, this is all for our licensees, and there's no extra cost. Once you've paid your one-time licensing fee, that's a lifetime fee. We're not going to nickel and dime you to death on all this. In fact, we do webinars every week at this point for our licensees. Now, those are done on Fridays, so you guys that are on this one that are not licensees, of course, can't see those, but we do those every week, and those are at no cost. The licensees are just enjoying all the new information that we bring to them live every week at no additional cost.
Exactly. And Angela, yes, you're correct. You saying the EMR comes with this built in? That is correct. So everything is there. All right, Patrick, let's keep moving on. I mean, that was the first one, and to us, that's one of the most important ones that you can go back and review. So go to that blog, go down there, search salesperson or whatever we said there. So you can go back in there. Number 2.
Number
Patrick,
2. And
does anybody fail at this business?
Well, we get that question a lot. What is your failure rate? For some reason, I don't know why people are focused on failure. They don't want to know our success rate. They want to know our failure rate. So I'm going to tell everybody on the webinar today what our failure rate is. I think we need to be upfront and honest about it, Eric, and it's 100% failure.
Right.
If people don't do exactly what we tell them to do, if they try to reinvent the wheel on their own, of course, sometimes they fail at it. And there's several things that we're going to cover here. But by the way, there's the search term. Just type the word FAIL and on our blog, and you'll come up with this webinar here, why some people fail in starting their own business. And it's very generic too. It's not just about our business. Any business you'll fail if you don't follow the rules that we go over in that webinar. Very important webinar to study, folks. But
yeah, exactly.
Just so you know, there are three things that Eric actually kind of boiled it down to this in our webinar as to why people fail. You want to just barely touch on those, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, as Patrick mentioned, a lot of people try to reinvent the wheel of the system of marketing, getting the doctors, how you get them signed up, and that's even including with the proposals and the contracts and everything else. Folks, we've got that set in stone, and this company here at ABS has been in business for 21 years. Believe me, we have massaged everything along the way to make sure that it's right. Our attorneys have looked it over, other attorneys have looked it over, so we know what we're doing here whenever it comes down to that. Then whenever it gets down to the marketing side, your instructor at our training class is another licensee who has done it exactly the way that we've taught. And through that, we also get new ideas and some things that we try to do that. So we just see a lot of people fail. And what we have to do after they can't get a doctor, sometimes they'll give us a call saying, I can't make it, can't do it. What am I doing wrong? We find out that they've tried to undo what they've learned and not do what we teach. The second thing is that there's really no product differentiation. And a lot of people will say, Patrick, well, why do I have to spend that type of investment with ABS? And whenever I can just go start my own medical billing company, I just go get my own billing software. Folks, that's where you're going to make a big problem there for you. That's why a lot of people will fail, because they have no product differentiation, and that's what we have here. And then I can't say enough more about the number three, just a lack of personal discipline. We know that there are folks that have come through our classes, people out of the same class, living really within the same area, in the same metropolitan area. One has clients, one doesn't. And it all gets down to a lack of personal discipline.
Yeah. Well, that's right, because we tell them we're not going to call you every morning and see if you got out of bed, right? There is some discipline to owning your own business, folks. So it's very important that you realize that if you put in the same effort and time that you do now working for somebody else in your own business, you can't help but be a success. The problem is working out of your home. It's pretty easy. Eric is in his home right now. I'm in my home, and I can tell you that it's very easy to walk in there and look outside at the pool, or you could go to the refrigerator. I mean, there's lots of things to distract you, right, Eric? So
exactly,
you got to be very disciplined, and we're going to cover that in detail in this webinar. But one of the things that is about the product differentiation is what we see here on this next slide. It's all about making sure that you have a system that is a complete system. Eric, tell them what we mean by that.
Yeah, and that's really what we're showing you right here, is that when we talk about a complete system, this more illustrates the fullness of the whole system coming together. Like I said, you're not going to have to worry about working with 4 different companies. It all begins with the patient. You can see up there in the left-hand corner where it says the patient, and that's where the actual, called the patient portal. That patient portal is tied directly into iClaim, as you can see there. However, it's also tied directly with the doctor's electronic medical records. So whatever the patient puts in over there from home or at a kiosk there in the doctor's office is literally going to end up down there in the doctor's electronic medical records platform, getting ready to actually see the patient. And once you see that in operation, once the doctor sees that in operation, the doctors fall in love with that, because it actually takes out about a quarter part of their work already out from seeing that patient. But once the doctor gets through with that, it goes directly into the billing system where you, as the ABS licensee, will pick it up from there and do the billing. But built inside of it, you can see there's that clearinghouse. Normally, with other systems, that clearinghouse would be outside of that. You'd have to send it to that clearinghouse, wait for 2 or 3 days to see if it's done all its things it needs to do there, and let it know whether you need to rework that claim or it gets sent on to the payer. That's not a case with ours. You work your claims in real time, and so that will help you get to those payers, which is those insurance companies out over there to the right-hand side. Really kind of helps you bring everything together. So that's what we're talking about, a complete system, and this is where product differentiation really truly comes into play.
Yeah, there are companies out there, folks, who do some training and have their own software, but it's a multiplicity of software programs that literally it comes on a CD and you have to install on your computer, and then you got to hook something up on the computer of the doctor's office so that they can communicate. Without a cloud-based system, folks, you can't run this business nowadays. And we have the cloud-based system. It's all from any computer anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. You can run this business. And there are not several companies that we're plugging things into. This is all one system, is what Eric's getting to.
Right.
That's what's illustrated there by that little building there behind our software. It's not really there. That's to illustrate the clearinghouse. That's a third-party entity that other companies will have you set up with on your own, by the way. And it's a very involved process. We have ours all built in. So anyway.
Exactly. And I tell you, you nailed it, Patrick. Back in the olden days, and we're not talking very long ago. We're talking about the last 5 years or 6 years ago, where you would have to take a CD and actually go load that software on your computer and then on the doctor's computer, and then have to keep up with all the updates.
Right.
Those days are long gone.
Yeah.
So that's really where the differentiator is.
When we first started, Eric, we had software that we actually included in our package that came on a CD. It was called Metasoft. That was the brand name of it. And it's still sold out there, but wow, we're in the 21st century here. We don't need to have CDs. That's why a Mac computer like we have here, I don't even have a DVD player on it because there's nothing that can't be downloaded nowadays off the internet. Ours, nothing's downloaded. There's nothing, folks, not one piece of anything that goes on your computer or the doctor's. It's all directly through the internet, through any browser. It's amazing technology when you see it. That's why you need to set up a demo with your rep. Get back with the person who invited you to this webinar and say, I want to see that demo. And we'll show it to you live. We'll take the time to do that because we believe that you need to wrap your head around what it is that you're going to be using to help the doctors solve their cash crunch problems.
Yes, so we've talked about not being a sales rep or not being a salesperson, why people fail in this business. So we've kind of discussed that. Now let's talk about a little some more positive things. Let's talk about how to market to doctors. And this is actually we are very proud, and I know Patrick's very proud about talking about this individual one, because if you'll put your search market to doctors, and this is what you're going to come up with. Patrick, why don't you talk about Dr. Vicki Rackner?
Yeah, now Vicki Rackner is an ex-surgeon. She was in practice for many, many years. She dealt with medical billing companies herself, outsourced her billing to those billers. And she retired a few years ago, and now she works with doctors and patients and other people like ourselves to help people to figure out how to engage with doctors. So here we have a doctor who not only has had the experience of dealing with medical billing companies and knowing the advantages of outsourcing their billing, but she now trains and teaches our licensees. So folks, you're basically getting introduced to and partnering with a medical doctor who wrote the ebook that you saw earlier. She's also done many, many webinars for our licensees on, as you can see from here, specifically how to market to doctors. And look, I love this quote here, Eric, because this is one of the things she says on the webinar. She says, this is the right place and the right time to mine the treasures in the medical market. This is one of her latest books, by the way. You can Google her or go to Amazon and find that she's written a dozen books. So she's a very famous author, writer, speaker, and she's just training our licensees. This Friday, Eric, Day after tomorrow, we have another webinar. We've had 4 or 5 already. This is another one. She's going to do one specifically on how to get leads, for your
Right.
business. And she's come up with some fantastic tools that I would have never thought of. Only a doctor could create these things. So,
Well,
yeah,
what's good about this is that you get to engage with a real doctor. She's been there. She has had the issues. She knows what it. She remembers being targeted, marketed to by not only uh, vendors, but about medical billing.
sure.
And she knows what is the right way to approach a doctor. She can also tell you the wrong way to approach a doctor.
Yeah.
So this all goes in hand about our whole solution here and the whole setup here. But with that, you wanted to talk about this particular article because we actually talked about this article in that particular webinar that we talked about marketing to doctors. Won't you? This is third party. Susan Morris is with an associate writer with healthcare finance. This is brand new.
Yeah, she just came out with this in January. This article, folks, says revenue cycle outsourcing. Now, let me slow down here. That's what you will be doing. The doctor will be outsourcing the billing to you, and they refer to it as their revenue cycle. It's everything to do with the billing of the insurance companies and Medicare and the patients. And so revenue cycle outsourcing to surge in the next 5 years. This
Mm-hmm.
report says that she quotes here. A tremendous article, guys, that goes into detail about why providers are increasingly outsourcing to ensure maximum collections and amid all these changing payment models that are out there. So, folks, this is not us. This is not Eric. This is not Patrick. This is not ABS. This is someone who has researched this and knows that it's going to surge in the next 5 years. Why? A lot of it has to do with the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. That is causing a lot of doctors a lot of despair. And Dr. Vicky, actually, I stole this slide from one of her presentations. I love it because it illustrates there on the left that some doctors are in despair over Obamacare and don't know
Right.
what to do. And some of them are retiring early and they're being bought out by hospitals and so forth. But folks, our licensees are bringing hope to doctors. Why? Because we can actually show them how to stay in private practice and be more profitable than they ever have before. So, folks, you're not just a medical biller, you're a medical revenue manager.
Exactly. Wow. Well, Patrick, we've covered, in 3 webinars in the last, 35, 40 minutes, we've covered, 3 hours worth of information so far.
Yeah.
So again, folks, we want to keep pointing you to that area where you can go watch and see these webinars because this is what's going to help you, number one, make the right decision for you if this is the business for you to be in. But I think you're going to find out in these webinars how much we are actually educating you prior to even getting here to training. So we want to keep encouraging you to do that. So
And
let's
look,
move on to the next one.
even
Oh,
though I know you guys are on the webinar today and somehow you've been to our website in the past, but I know that I go to a lot of websites doing research, and you may have forgotten. So we put it in the chat box. If you all look in the chat box right now, you should see the actual link right there to our website where all these are. Go to news and then blog, and you'll see that you can find all of these things. So let's talk about this next one. This is a pretty important one here to do some research on, huh?
yeah, absolutely. We just talked about how we really on the front end, Patrick and I and the other everybody else, what we try to do here for you, whether we're dealing with you one-on-one or through the webinars, we're trying to educate you upon the business, what you can do, basically how much money you can make. And this is actually talking about what you're going to learn during these 5 days of training and why you can make the initial understanding. Patrick, we've sent out a questionnaire to brand new licensees that are actually coming to class, and sometimes we get this response: how am I going to get everything I'm going to need to know in 5 days? And I think hopefully we can kind of crunch that in here during this. But let's talk first of all. Talk about just go there and just go type in residual. or you can type in training or whatever that you can get to, and you can land on either this particular webinar, how to start your new high profit residual income business in 5 days, and or this 5 days of training could actually change your life. So we put up a couple of these up there that you can actually go watch. So there's a couple of hours there just of information. But Patrick, why don't you talk about the lifetime value of one doctor and what that can actually bring?
Yeah, I like for people to kind of walk through this scenario with me, Eric, because I don't think people really realize how profitable this little home business, this secret home business can be. Let's start, for example, with the number of claims that a average doctor, an average general practitioner, might see 20 patients a day. That turns out to be 100 a week, or about 400 claims per month. Now, most of those claims are going to average somewhere around $100 to $150. Let's just use the $120 as the average claim amount.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you're going to be billing for that doctor to the insurance companies and to Medicare $48,000 a month. Now, remember, our rejection rate in our system is less than 2%. So we use the number 98% of the actual money that's billed is actually collected. So 98% of $48,000 is $47,074. You can do the math yourself, and you'll see that if you were charging that doctor, and this varies, of course, depending on the practice and the volume and so forth, but an average of about 7%, 5 to 8% is somewhere in the neighborhood. But at 7%, look at this. Times that $47,074 is $3,295 a month. And if you extend that out for a year's time, you'll see that this one doctor we're talking about here, this one client, could earn you almost $40,000 a year. Now, folks, that's not just this month that you make the $32.95. Every month, the doctor is going to be seeing those patients, and sometimes even their patient base grows, so your income will grow. And so that's what we call residual income. You don't have to go out and get that account every month or find new business. This is residual income by just doing very little work. Eric, let's give them an idea here about the time spent doing 400 claims a month. That's 100 a week. That's only 20 a day.
Right. Yeah, this could be, I mean, you could literally do 100 claims in a day. That's not that big of a deal. And we're talking about spreading that over a week's time. So really, doing about 20, 25 claims a day, it shouldn't take you any more than about an hour. Now, we don't want to just say, well, all you got to do is put an hour a day and get, $3,200 in a month. There is claims management that kind of goes along with that. But if you think about every single day, I'm putting in about an hour's worth of claims a day. And then on top of that, for this one account, you may be putting another hour, hour and a half in of just claims management. And that means when the payments come in, you're reconciling the claims with what was put out there, and chasing down anything that might be needs to get fixed with a claim or something like that. So with this one account, for claims input, data entry of those, and just claims management, you're probably talking in 2.5 hours a day.
This is why the average licensee that we have usually has 5 or 6 doctors before they even think about hiring someone else, because you can manage 5 or 6 doctors, as you can see from what we just went over, and multiply that 39,540 times 5, for example. You see why people can make a really nice executive income in this business.
Exactly. So we want to show you on our website again how you can go there and play with the numbers yourself, because the numbers that we've got in there, we've actually kind of reduced these numbers just a little bit so you can see. So you go to our website, that's absystems.com. Instead of going over to the news, go to the one in there in the middle. It says income potential. Go to medical billing income calculator. You click on that, and that'll get you over here. Certainly, we have this down here at the very bottom. We have our disclosure, so that these are just numbers that you're going to kind of work along with. But these are fairly accurate numbers here to the least. Putting that one doctor, 20 patients a day. You see that open 5 days a week. So there's your 100 claims. We put it in at 6% for $100. That's pretty average. Click on submit, and we missed one there. That would come out to be about $31,000 a month, a year on that one. Right at about $3,000 a month on
Yeah.
that, and that's what that will
So
end up being.
depending on the numbers you put in, but the point is, guys, we've left it up to you. You can plug in any numbers you want to, play with that all day long, and you'll see why you'll get excited about this because it really does make a lot of people a lot of money. In fact, when my wife and I were doing this medical billing out of our home, we had relatives and friends asking us, what kind of drugs were we selling on the street because they saw us buying new cars and wondered how we were making that kind of money, and we never left home.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So folks, go there, put in the numbers. If you want to put 2 doctors in there, leave those numbers as they are. You'll see, put in 3 doctors. You may say, hey, I might want to charge a little bit more. The the average claim amount will vary because of specialties. So, this $100, that's basically an internal medicine doctor. You might get a podiatrist. That might go up to $175, $200. So
Right.
think about those numbers as you put those in there.
A surgeon,
Kind of
a surgeon could be $5,000 or $6,000.
exactly. That's true. Well, Patrick, as we kind of get towards the end here, I know we've got just about 15 more minutes here, and we're at number 5, I think, here. We're talking about interviews with successful entrepreneurs. You mentioned earlier, a lot of people do ask the question, what about your failure rate? And we know that people fail, and it's simply because they're hitting one of those 3 sections there that we talked, reinventing the wheel. There's no product differentiation, and just personal discipline.
Eric,
share with you.
let me just point out that when we say that people fail, no one has failed at anything unless they quit.
Right.
If they give up at anything, of course, you can say that you failed. But folks, our licensees don't have any reason to fail because we have hand-holding support. Literally, we'll take you by the hand. We'll get on the phone. We'll mentor you. We'll coach you. We have coaches who can get on the phone and coach you through till you get that first client. And really, for most people, all they need to do is find the first client. If you do a good job for that client, doctors know one another, and there's lots of referrals in this business. So your business will grow automatically at some point. It's just getting that first one that's the hardest for anybody in any business. But yeah, these successful entrepreneurs, well, they're our licensees, but we call them successful entrepreneurs because they started their own business. And
well, they hit all 3 of those things that we talked about. First of all, they didn't try to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
They've got product differentiation, and they've got good work ethics.
And they've got good work ethics.
And this is why we're seeing successful people like this. We just did an interview with Laura Dean and her husband just a couple of weeks ago. This is one that you can go see. And so if you just type in testimonials or whatever, this is one that you can land on. But Patrick, I know outside of Laura Dean, which her story is incredible in and of itself.
It is.
Why don't you talk about these 2 ladies here?
Yeah, now before we play this little video clip, Eric, you might want to get your mic ready to point to the speakers there on your computer so the sound will come through good. But this is Amy and Carla. You'll see their interview out there on our web. And I want you to pay real close attention to what they say here. Amy's going to explain to you exactly how they got their first client. Listen very carefully, and I'll point out a couple of things when we get through listening to it here.
We went in just on a referral from someone that we knew to a doctor, and we, kind of pitched our billing to him, but he had somebody working in-house, and so he really was like, I don't need the billing part of it, I just need the EMR side. So we implemented the EMR side into it, but as we were in there in his office, then it was, can you help me do this? I might need you to clean up some stuff. And now it's like he's completely turned over his billing, just do it for 6 months. And now it's, I'm going to hire you full time and we just want you to do it all now. So once you get in there and they see that, and they start trusting you and knowing that you're there to help them, then, kind of change it.
Yeah, it changes, doesn't it? This is why, folks, we have for our licensees several products and services that you can use to get into the doctor's office. First of all, I want to point out that she got this through a referral. This is just not somebody in a doctor's office. I mean, we teach you how to find referrals, other power partners in your community that can give you referrals. They went to the doctor's office and he says, I already have my billing done in-house. We have people here that do it. I don't need your billing. But they mentioned that they had an electronic medical record system that was fantastic. He watched the demo. He got involved in the EMR. And then one thing led to another. And at some point he said, hey, I want you guys just to handle all of my billing. So that's how it works, isn't it?
It is, and it's so great to hear from folks like this. But I mean, this is just one of a handful. You know, if we go back to you go listen to Laura Dean's and how they got their first client, it's amazing how working in the system, how often we hear so many different people actually use one of those systems of what we talk about getting that first client. These ladies were just one from a referral. You know, Laura's was from a completely different portion of it. But here we've got Charisse and her little girl Mia. Talk about, you know, how she did and what she was able and capable of doing.
Yeah, so what I wanted to illustrate with a couple of other images here of some of these interviews, Eric, is that there are people from every background, every walk of life. This is a single mom, no background in the medical billing industry, got involved in our business, and in 6 months, she paid off her investment, her licensing fee with us. And she still works from home. That's what she loves about it, is that she's able to be there with her daughter. So, folks, there's all kinds of extremes in this business. This is on one end, and then we have other people that are on the other end. This is Terrence Patterson, for example, up in Massachusetts. He has a commercial office space now after a couple of years in this business, 2 staff members who does all the billing for him, and he bills for 6 providers. Plus, Eric, he's just met with a 6-doctor group that he's going to bring on board, so that'll double his number of clients. But folks, the point is that you can build this as big or keep it as small as you want. It's all up to you. Here's another couple up in Tennessee, Christy and Brad. They both are in this full time. They love what they do. They're able to spend time with their family. She was doing it full time. He was still in carpentry work for about 2 years. Then at some point she said, Brad, why don't you just quit your job? This business would support us both. So he came down to training. You remember that, Eric? He went through the training 2 years later by himself, and then he went back and helped her build the business. They have a tremendous business, and I'm talking about they're in a town that's a very small community. So it can be done from anywhere, even the top of a mountain in Tennessee. Oh, and then there's here's the other end of the spectrum is Cash and Jatika. They're here in Texas. They have 3 offices now, Eric, in 3 different cities, 18 employees, and they do billing for over 50 providers or doctors.
Wow.
So,
unbelievable.
Again, you build it as big as you want to. I visited them in their office there, and I had that picture taken with them. So, again, guys, watch these interviews. They will inspire you when you realize the wide variety of people that have been successful in our business.
Yeah, that's what's so great. You know, and so many people, and most of these folks, you can speak to personally. So
Sure.
not only can you hear their interviews with Patrick and me, this is just a good little handful of folks that we have as folks. If you want to talk with folks as references and just speak to them, just as cold turkey as you want to be able to talk with them and just enjoy visiting with them, hear about how their success. I remember when Cash actually came into to the training class, and he was so skeptical first day, thinking, how are they going to be able to build this business? And here they are 50 providers later. It's unbelievable. And they were, I mean, within the last 2.5, 3 years. So they've really were able to get after this. So kudos to those.
Hey,
folks.
some of these people will even let you visit their offices. I mean, when you talk to them on the phone, you could ask them, hey, do you have a commercial office? Yes. Then, can I come visit you? And if you're willing to jump on a plane or drive and visit them, you can go see their operations. Eric, just be sure and ask your ABS rep for a list of the references. And we've got probably, maybe 24 people in there now, Eric, I think, that you can call and speak to and just ask them all the questions you want to find out if it's for real. Because look, let's be honest. Eric tells some whoppers sometimes. I mean, that comes across pretty obvious, doesn't it, folks? Me, I'm always truthful about everything that I say, and you can trust everything that I say. But, Eric, we're not sure. So here's the point. Don't trust either one of us, really. You should just trust the people that have actually done the due diligence that you're doing now. They've been through some of these webinars like you're sitting through. They've come to our training. Now they're experiencing our support, our lifetime support, and they're building successful businesses. Those are the people to ask questions to.
Exactly. And Patrick, we've got about 5 more minutes, and we kind of we've talked about 5 different, basically major topics of discussion. And
you have a bonus? You have a bonus?
I have a bonus. But wait, there's more. Call today.
Well, we got to cover this one because this is a great one. How to distinguish between a scam and a legitimate business opportunity. Folks, this is something you need to research when you're looking at a business opportunity or a franchise. Be sure that it's not just a scam, but how about just a fad? There's some franchises that I don't understand how people spend $40,000, $50,000 for a franchise that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. They just come and go. They're built on all kinds of things that are just fads. This is a pretty solid business, isn't it, Eric?
Exactly, and but we get this question asked, early on, especially if people go out there and research and they find stuff about us or anybody else. They go, oh no, we see bad reports about you out there, folks. As we started off in the beginning, deal with legitimate places where you can go get information. Better Business Bureau.
Right.
Secondly, talk to folks that have actually come through our training and have gone through that. Because guess what, folks? If there are people who have failed because of their poor personal disciplines, absolutely they're going to have bad things to say. And people do that. We can't keep them from that. So, but Patrick and I we went out on a limb and we did this. How to distinguish between a scam and a legitimate business offering. We talk about what scams look like. We actually talk about what some medical billing scams look like. And so, Patrick, I mean, we deal with the whole game.
We don't hold back on this one. Look, here's some of the topics that we covered during this webinar, and these are important things that you need to know about, guys. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things are very important for you to know how to spot these. So this is a very valuable, again, whether you're looking into our business or any other business, you need to know how to spot a scam. So be sure and watch this webinar. It's out there on there as well.